Hello, my dear children. Welcome back to our English class. We were discussing the poem Lines Written in Early Spring by William Wordsworth. We have already discussed the four stanzas of the poem. What does the poet convey through the poem? Yes, nature makes him happy, but man and his actions make him unhappy. Do you remember what's the rhyme scheme of the poem? Right, the rhyme scheme is AB, AB. The poem follows a regular rhyming pattern. Now let's move on to the fifth stanza. The budding twigs spread out their fan to catch the breezy air, and I must think, do all I can, that there was pleasure there. The budding twigs are reaching out for something. What are they reaching out for? They are reaching out for happiness. The poet tried to tell us the beginning of life, that is, the budding twigs. There is a hope that all living beings can live happily and freely if they are close to nature. We already studied the figure of speech personification. Can you pick out an instance of personification from this stanza? Yes, right, the first two lines. The budding twigs spread out their fan to catch the breezy air. The image of budding twigs creates something in our mind. To make the poem attractive, the poet used such images to appeal our senses. Another poetic device, imagery. To use figurative language to represent objects, actions, ideas to appeal to our senses. Here the poet uses different types of images. First one, visual imagery, that is sense of sight. Example from our poem, the birds around me hoped and played. It's a visual imagery. Next one, auditory imagery, that is sense of sound. Another example, I heard 1,000 blended notes. The birds around me hoped and played. From that, we can imagine the sound of birds. Olfactory imagery, sense of smell. For example, the budding twigs spread out their fan to catch the breezy air. We can smell the fragrance of flowers. Next, tactile imagery, sense of touch. The budding twigs spread out their fan to catch the breezy air. Every flower enjoys the air, its breath. Breezy air is the example for tactile imagery. My dear children, page number 32, activity 2. William Wordsworth poem Lines Written in Early Spring is appealing to the readers because of its poetic devices. Fill in the boxes with suitable examples from the poem. Personification. You can write what is a personification and examples. Next box, imagery. First example they already given here, visual. And the example is the birds around me hoped and played. Other imageries, you can write it and its examples. Next one, alliteration. What is called alliteration? You can write and its examples from our poem. Next, rhyme scheme. What is a rhyme scheme? And write the example. Okay. Let's move to the sixth stanza. If this belief from heaven be sent, if such be nature's holy plan, have I not reason to lament what man has made of man? Do you understand the meaning of this stanza? Almost the same ideas are described in the second stanza, right? Throughout the poem, Wordsworth pictures nature is a living being. Nature has only holy plans for humanity. Instead of understanding that man's greed, materialism, and selfishness kill himself and nature. In fact, he has moved far away from nature. He becomes unholy and unleashes cruelty. Wordsworth looks at the positive and negative sides simultaneously. Nature fills everything with pleasure, beauty, and peace is the positive element. But the negative element is the destructive nature of human force. My dear children, the poem ends on a sad note. The last line, what man has made of man. Can we discuss some questions? Pick out an instance of personification from this stanza. The second line, if such be nature's holy plan. Does the poem end on a happy note or a sad note? Yes, the poem ends on a sad note. The last two lines you will understand. Have I not reason to lament what man has made of man? Which expression does he use to indicate his sadness? The expression lament. It means a passionate expression of grief or sorrow. What is nature's holy plan? Nature fills everything with beauty, pleasure, and peace. How does man work against it? Man becomes unholy and unleashes cruelty. Page number 33, Activity 3. To her fair works did nature link the human soul that through me ran. These lines speak about man's vital relationship with nature. Discuss and write an appreciation of the poem. In order to write an appreciation, we need to look out certain details. To begin with first paragraph, first you have to write the title of the poem, name of the poet, type of the poem, rhyme scheme, and central theme of the poem. Okay? And in the second paragraph, a brief summary of the poem. And you can add figure of speech. Next, imagery. And the last point in the second paragraph, language or tone. Language used by the poet, social or political concept. Tone means, is the poem hopeful or impatient? What is the mood of the poet? And in the third paragraph, 2 points also you can add it. Whether the poem is written under the influence of any particular social or literary movement. That you can write. Last one, your opinion. Why I like or dislike the poem. These points you can add in the appreciation. In the PDF, you can see a critical appreciation. That is only a sample. You can add your own points. Okay?